I get a lot of people hitting me up asking me how they can start making some triple X's and how they can get into that kind of project. I'll say this time and time again. What I always recommend to everybody is buy the nicest males that you can and breed them to a bunch of, above average or good producing females. Everybody in this hobby, we all want females. We're all trying to buy as many females as we can. But the problem is you can have an all-star female, absolute 10 out of 10. She can only breed to one male a year. But if you have a male like this, he can pair to, 3 to 5, 6 females a year, no problem. And that's going to give you a lot better return on your investment. So I understand we all are wanting females. We're always asking for ready to breed females. When it comes to really starting a new project, you need to get an all-star male that's going to be able to carry the weight of that project. This male right here is a beautiful triple X. He has incredible expression, probably some of the most ideal pattern expression when it comes to triple X. The only thing that's possibly holding this one back is that it's more of a lavender base color, but that can be an entire project in and of itself. I think this is a really beautiful male, incredible patterning, a little bit of tricolor. What I would do is pair this guy to extreme harlequins or even flames, because believe it or not, pairing a male like this to say a basic looking flame female, you'd be surprised at how much of the offspring ends up being really impressive. And that's something that I don't think a lot of people realize is you can breed a really high patterned male like this to a low patterned, at least harlequin female, and they'll still make a lot of incredible offspring for you. Besides those, very obvious options, I would pair a male like this to fraps, caps. Those would be awesome pairings. Anytime you're pairing something with just extreme high pattern, just because they're from the triple X project stuff, doesn't mean that they can only work with triple X. You can pair this to your pinstripes, you can pair this to your fraps, you can pair this to sables, your xanthics. This is just going to be an all-around great investment, especially since it's a male. You're going to be able to include him in a lot of different projects every single breeding season. A no-brainer investment, if you ask me. Okay, so while we're on the topic of males and extreme harlequins and triple X, while I'm showing you these next 3 geckos, I think a lot of people in the hobby make this mistake, me included, and I think it's important to talk about it. So here's another incredible extreme harlequin male. One of those just all-around evergreen projects. An extreme harlequin tricolor, pair him to lilies, fraps, caps. You really can never go wrong. Now, to talk about the mistake that I think a lot of us in the hobby make, myself included, is we don't have enough males. While, of course, you want to have a lower ratio of males than females, but I think that more often than not, we end up really just focusing on having as many females as possible, and then we end up putting so much weight onto a single or only like a pair of males' shoulders for an entire project. Like me, for example. Solomon Doors is my all-time favorite gecko. I love his pattern. I even got him tattooed on me, actually. I love his pattern. I love his color, his structure. Everything about him is just amazing. But the problems that he has is that he has a slimmer body. He only gets up to like 36 grams max. And so I just don't feel comfortable pairing him to more than like 3 to 5 females a year. Now, luckily, he's able to hold his weight pretty well, and he's become a really good breeder. There might be a couple of months, and this has happened with Solomon Doors specifically, where he's just not feeling it, and he's not going to get the job done. And so what I've had to implement is having backup males that can take his place. So the mistake that I think a lot of us make is we put too much weight onto a little gecko's shoulder, specifically our males, because a lot of breeders probably have like a 1-to-10 ratio. More often than not, it is very helpful to have backup males of the same project. I have a lot of males in my collection that actually look nearly identical because I want to be able to have one that can fill in the shoes of the other. If the male that's like my favorite really just is not having a good year, or he's having a hard time holding on to weight, or maybe he's just straight up not feeling it, he's not wanting to breed. That can happen sometimes. These are animals that we're working with. Honestly, I can never have enough males when it comes to high quality males that are exactly the project that I'm working with. Having 2, 3, maybe even 5 males that all look super similar and could fill each other's roles if they needed to is always a smart idea, if you ask me. Another pitfall that I think we can fall into is if you pair too many females to the same male, whenever all of those offspring end up growing up to sellable weights like this, you end up having customers that want to buy a breeding group, but they're all half related or they're all related. And so customers, rightfully so, don't want to just buy brothers and sisters to pair together. If you're really riding an entire project on the shoulders of 1 or 2 males, you're going to run into having a hard time selling the offspring because they're all related in some way. So it's really important to have many different males that fill the same sort of roles as the other. Like this boy right here. A male like this is a beautiful Halloween extreme harlequin. He can pair into triple X stuff and make triple X's. If you have those good females, because again, it's still important to have nice females. But to get a male like this, that's an easy 8 or 9 out of 10, and pair him to a 10 out of 10 female, that's gonna just do rock solid for you. Another thing I don't see a lot of people taking into consideration when investing into crested geckos is let's talk about the lineage to this guy. How big are the parents? How good of breeders are they? Well, I have them in my collection, and I can tell you the sire to this guy, or the dad, is a little on the smaller side. However, he's a rock star when it comes to breeding. And the mom is an absolute behemoth of a gecko. And in her first season, she gave me 10 clutches of pearls. She has never skipped a beat. I'm going to be keeping her forever. I actually had the mom up for sale for a little bit, and I'm really glad that I didn't sell her. Easily top 10 producers here in my collection. And I think that knowing stuff like that is important. So looking at something like this, the mom is Stellaris, and the dad is a Ripper line male that I got from Cresty Works. I can guarantee you that this male is going to be a good breeder, and his genetics are strong. He's going to have thick-bodied, good-producing offspring that are going to be really high in pattern and color. That's something that I don't see a lot of people taking into consideration. Because you can have the prettiest gecko, but if it doesn't have good muscle density, good structure, if the gecko's dad was a little timid when it came to breeding, it took a couple of months before he got one good lock, or if the mom to the gecko was a really bad producer and she was only able to produce like 2 or 3 viable eggs that season, that's important things to know when it comes to buying geckos. Because if you're trying to get geckos and breed them, you should know how their parents were as breeders. And then their parents if possible, right? The lineage to all of these is nice, hardy geckos from my own collection. Taking another look at this male, I would consider him triple X. Because of that really cool banding right there, that is what you're looking for. Another thing is the broken dorsal. That broken dorsal is a good sign that the pinstripe isn't dominating his pattern too much. So pair this male to some really nice extreme harlequin females and triple X females, and he is going to make you some killer offspring. Now this next one, as much as I hate the term holdback release, this actually was a holdback of mine. However, it looks like it is a boy. Since I already have like 6 or 7 really awesome male triple X breeders, I wanted to offer you guys this one. The contrast on this male is off the charts. I absolutely love this guy's look. Incredible patterning, really thick, strong tiger banding too. This is, that classic triple X look. A little bit of tricolor too. And that's the thing is with this, you could pair him to tricolors and try to make some like orange tricolors instead of that classic graham cracker that we always see. A male like this is going to be able to pair into so many different projects, let alone all the new genes coming out like sables, caps, fraps. Chef's kiss. This is going to be an incredible producer. And just to show off a little bit, these are not for sale, but here is the sister to that male that I just showed. She isn't fired up, but check out that incredible extreme harlequin banding. That is what I'm after. So his sister, both of his 2 sisters are my holdbacks, but wow, check out that patterning. So this is the sister to that male that I just had on screen, and here is the other sister to him as well. As you can see, this pairing just was not missing. I was hoping that he would stay female, but I'm happy to say my loss will be somebody's gain. If you're trying to start a really solid triple X or extreme harlequin project, this would be the male to invest in. So I did a poll on my Instagram, and we had a couple of people actually vote for some smaller geckos be listed on the website. These 2 are so far no pores visible. I'm pretty confident they should be female. Something like this is an incredible extreme harlequin tricolor. Dare I say a little bit of that triple Xing going on. Incredible looking orange tricolor female. So something like this, you can't go wrong. Pair it to caps, fraps, everything, I'm going to be repeating myself a lot in this, but come on. And the other probable female, a little more of that classic tricolor look. But again, I think tricolors are a bit of an evergreen project. They're never going to go out of style. Any gene that comes out, you want to be able to breed to tricolor to see how that expresses. Especially with good structure, good pattern, this is going to be a solid female. This next female is a doozy. I'm a bit on the fence about listing this one. In person, the oranges on this are incredible. So this is just so I won't be altering the color too much, but let me try to emulate what this actual patterning and saturation on this gecko looks like in person. So this is an example of how this gecko looks in person. I'll go back to the way the camera's just seeing it. This female is something else. I mean, the patterning is incredible. This will work perfectly into your extreme harlequins, but you can also, actually I can show you right now, if you pair this female to a nice male cappuccino, perhaps one of the really dark male cappuccinos that I have available, This, I mean, the babies that this female is going to be able to produce are incredible. There isn't too much pattern that it's covering up that nice black base color. The orange saturation is so unique. It's such a dark orange on this female. Really incredible. I'm still on the fence if I'm going to list this one. If it doesn't look like it's on the website, then I changed my mind. And if it is on the website, it's going to be a little pricey. I don't see this shade of orange very often. Out of, let's say, the 700 offspring that I've made this season, I've only made like 3 or 4 that have this incredible of an orange color to it. So this is a little harder to get in terms of the orange, the dark orange patterning. We also have a nice cream colored kind of yellow triple X going on here. Really awesome, probable female it looks like. Just gorgeous patterning. Really great expression of the extreme harlequin. I do also really like the dashed pinstriping. I'm a sucker for dashed pinstripe, even though it's technically not that pure triple X or pure extreme harlequin look. But man, I think that it just adds a little bit of nice pop to their overall color and contrast. All right, let's move on to some female lilies and fraps. This lily white is such a unique color. I've got a couple of lilies that are going up that have just this insanely unique shade of orange to them. They're not that classic graham cracker lily look. The lilies I'll be listing have just such a unique shade of orange to them. I love the look. I've been hatching a couple of these guys out, so I do think that it's relatively simple to carry over. The orange and the saturation that's on these lilies is incredible. And here's an example of that insane coloring, but in a frappuccino. I have 2 of these little fraps available that have this incredible orange, burnt orange kind of look to them. Just gorgeous looking. This one does look like it's female. I have one that's a probable female and one that's a for sure male. But that orange on the dorsal is to die for. I love the way that this one looks. That burnt orange is killer. I am excited to announce that I will also have a 30-gram Frappuccino female available. This is actually from Wasabi, one of my most popular geckos in my collection. He also is one of my greatest breeders, and the mom to this, Sunkissed, is also one of my best producers. She really hits a home run every season when it comes to laying eggs. I don't think I've ever seen the mother lay anything but a perfect pearl. Pair a female like this to any of the males that I showed before, or to any of your really nice ones. Hell, some high white pinstripe tricolors, things like that. Can't go wrong. It's going to be a good season for you. And here is an older male example that I have of the incredible burnt orange look on these lilies. And yes, this one's just a lily, not a frap. This male looks really cool, and I've made a couple of these. This for sure will pass over to the offspring. Love the burnt orange look. A little bit more of a lavender base color. Could have better head structure. It's the color on this one that's so unique. The really crazy orange and lavender combo. It just looks so unique. And he's going to be for a pretty bargain price too. Here is that same lineage on the fraps, but this is the younger boy. So if you're looking for a nice burnt orange male Frappuccino, this is the one for you. Incredible looking color. Again, just such a weird look. And right now, the way that it's fired, it's kind of like a faded head he's got. Really interesting looking. Anytime a new breeder asks me, what should I invest in? What's the most important kind of project to have or most important breeder to have? I always tell every single person, you absolutely need a good lily white male breeder. If you have a male like this, any female that you pair him to, half of the offspring are going to be lily. Pair him to a cap, 25% of the offspring will be frap. In terms of return on investment, getting a nice male lily is one of the most sound business decisions you can make. Lilies are always going to be desired. I think they're also an evergreen project. They can pair really well to a lot of the quote-unquote normal stuff like tricolors, triple X, anything like that, pinstripe, high whites. A lily in that project is just going to add a little bit of variety, some of that really awesome contrast and pop with their lily patterning. I don't think it's controversial to say everybody needs a nice male lily white in their collection. I will also be listing this gorgeous triple X female. An incredible tricolor patterning. Again, love that dashed pinstriping. Honestly, if you ask me, this looks like one of my most famous geckos, Thalia. This looks just like Thalia, maybe even better patterning. Thalia probably will give her a run for her money because of the structure, but this girl is really honky. She is filling out really well. She's already 35 grams, so she's going to be ready to breed by this winter easily. Incredible expression. I mean, come on. Yeah, a female like this, everybody's hitting me up for those females. Everybody wants ready to breed triple X females. here you go. This is your opportunity. Again, a little bit more of that lavender base color, and some of the Halloween males that I was showing earlier are from pairings where the mom's a little bit more lavender. It's not that big of a deal, and in one generation, the offspring already have the really nice dark base color. So a female like this, you really can't go wrong. There are more of these, but next up are these incredible yellows that I've been kind of having on the back burner. I haven't been letting people know about them. So I've been doing kind of a secret yellow project in the background. I really love yellows. And these two females that I'm going to be showing you are from Dijon. And he is a super soft margin, tiger, whatever the heck, really cool. The point is that he's super soft and he's yellow and he has incredible structure. And so this is some of his offspring. So this is one of his daughters. Pair this to some fraps and stuff. Yellow fraps look incredible. Or to xanthics, because of that really nice white patterning, that should transfer over in the offspring. A female yellow soft scale like this pretty much has limitless pairings that you could do with her. And here is the younger sister. A little bit smaller, but I don't see any pores on it. Really cool silver eyes too. But yeah, another soft scale, kind of white patterned harlequin pinstripe. Really pretty, would do really well with caps, fraps, and everything of the like. Speaking of caps, let's show you some caps. Here I have an absolutely black Cappuccino male. Now, obviously, there's brown on him. You can see it. But check out his laterals. Look how dark this male is. This is a really cool male. I had someone recently reach out. They wanted really dark phantoms, but they wanted a female. I don't have any females, but I have this male. And this is a Cappuccino too. So if you are a fan of all black geckos, this is the gecko to include in those projects. Pair into some visual xanthic stuff, buy some of those really cool dark phantoms, pair to this male, you should have some really good luck. This is probably the darkest Cappuccino that I've made to date. This right here is a Cappuccino from Sunkissed, and I think it really did end up inheriting the mom's really cool Sunkissed look. It's a really interesting orange tiger Cappuccino. It does have a little bit of a browned out dorsal, and as you can see, it is incredibly lively and healthy. But check out that tiger patterning. On a Cappuccino, this looks super cool. This would work with, I mean, frick, anything you throw at it, it's gonna end up looking pretty neat. Just absolutely love that tiger patterning it's got, and the dashed pinstriping is gonna be a really cool touch. A little bit of margin too. If you don't know, margin is like a dark pattern right here on the neck and the head, when it's like a little darkened like that. It's often seen with phantoms and tigers. I will clarify, this one does have some dots on the tail. So for you guys that are stickler about Dalmatian spots like me, that's why I'm not keeping it. It's got some dots on its tail. Nowhere else on the body though, and hell, it might even just be a little bit of pattern marking, but if you ask me, I think it's a Dalmatian spot. So not for me, but if you guys don't care about Dal spots that much, this is a really cool tiger Cappuccino. All right, well, that just about does it. If you guys are interested in any of the geckos you saw in this video, make sure to check out robbiesreptiles.com to see everything that's going up for sale. Here is Solomon Doors just for some attention.